What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be reviewing the brand new Formula E-moto tech fork. So that's what's on my Surron right now, and we're gonna take this baby on a hard and fast solo trail ride with me. Now, when I go out and ride, I don't usually take a camera ever or do any filming, and that sounds kind of weird when it's my job to film YouTube videos, and so it makes sense that when I ride, I should be filming. However, I'm trying to make this so that I can have fun while I ride solo and then film for work and kind of differentiate the two. So I don't usually take you guys along for the ride, but that's when I do my hardest, fastest riding, and that's when I really ultimately review all the products that you guys see on the channel. That's where I get a good feel and experience for them. So that's what's been happening for this fork. I have about 200 to 250 off-road miles on this fork already. Only had it for maybe 10 days on the bike or so. So today, I'm gonna take you guys along for the ride. We're gonna talk about the fork, give it a good solid review, but first we gotta do some maintenance. My first item of business is to fix my throttle. So I have the FX throttles aluminum throttle on this bad boy, and it's been fantastic until I tipped the bike over and it landed really, really hard on a rock straight on the throttle. And so what happened was, for about 20 miles, my throttle still felt good, but then the spring popped out of its little groove inside here and it locked up my throttle. Now, luckily, with my EBMX X9000 controller, I could just swap my regen brake lever to be my throttle. You can just change the setting in the app. I was able to ride home just fine, which is really, really convenient and nice. But now I fixed the spring, fixed the throttle, took it on a ride. It felt great for a little while, and then it started getting worse and worse and worse. So I think that spring popping out and kind of digging a groove because the throttle was still being twisted to try to get home and see how I could fix it, kind of ultimately might have ruined the internals of the throttle. So it's not really a knock on FX because I crashed the bike, crashes happen. But now we're gonna put my Domino throttle back on. This is a used throttle. We're gonna put it back in so that we can ride this bike to review this fork. Now, on most other E-moto models, the throttle cable is super short and I could just unplug it and swap it. But on a Surron, it goes all the way down here to the bottom of the skid plate. So this is kind of gonna be a lot of work, but we gotta get it done, and we're gonna get it done fast. I just got so lucky putting that throttle on. I was able to practically undo nothing and just like trace the wire all the way through. I got really lucky with where all my wire placement was. So that was awesome. That was super fast. Now we're gonna give this bike a quick wash, tighten our chain, lube our chain, get suited up, and let's go. All right, quick and dirty bike wash. Didn't even use any soap. I just used some chain degreaser. Got my chain cleaned up nice. Got my primary drive cleaned up because those, if they're dirty, they just do not run well. So we're gonna just tighten up our chain really quick and we're gonna head out. All right, guys, here's our game plan. We are at what's called the Bountiful Bee in Bountiful, Utah. We're gonna start right here and we're gonna go all the way to the top of the mountain, basically as fast as we can, because right now it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it is 100 degrees here in Utah, and I am absolutely roasting. So we're just gonna try to get to the top of the mountain as fast as we can. While we do that, we're gonna talk about this fork and really tell you guys everything you need to know about it, because basically there's a lot of good things and there's a couple of things that you guys need to know that I don't love about it, but aren't bad things for some people, but are bad things for other people. So here we go. Let's see what a Lance solo ride is like, because I go fast and I ride hard. Now with that, I'm gonna try to talk to the camera best I can. It's not as easy as you guys might think, trying to ride really fast and pay attention and talk to the camera. So we're gonna do our best here. We are going up steep. I wanna say we have, give or take, maybe 10 or 12 miles to get to the top. And I think we're gonna try to do it in less than 30 minutes. I think we're gonna shoot for about 20 minutes to get to the very top of the mountain. We're gonna climb, about 5,000 feet of vertical, which is a lot from the valley floor. So here we go. Let's put this Surron, this fork, to the test. I love this bike so much. It rides so nice. All right, so let's talk about this fork. I'm gonna flash little clips and stuff up on screen while I talk about it. We're gonna jump around a little bit, and I'm just gonna keep riding, and you guys will just keep cutting back to me. So this tech fork is about $1,550. However, at tbelectricmoto.com, if you use discount code Talaria Boys, you're gonna get 5% off of that. Woo! So this fork is, in my opinion, fairly reasonably priced. Oh, this part's hard. Oh yeah, baby. No feet down. Let's go. I got one foot down right there, dang it. So I think this fork is fairly reasonably priced at $1,550, and then you can use the discount code. For reference, in comparison to other fork models, the EXT Ferro fork is a little over $2,000. It is an air sprung fork. It's got a lot of technology built into it. This fork is dual spring, more like a traditional full-size moto fork. So it has spring and damper in each leg, where every other e-moto fork that I've ridden has a spring in one leg and a damper in the other leg. That's why one leg is really soft and one leg is really stiff, and that still works pretty well. But the way this fork is built with the dual springs and the dual air chamber, or the dual dampers, it makes it feel really supportive and nice. Oh, we're cutting right through the middle here. Now with that, it comes set up with a spring rate that they determined to be about exactly perfect for a 180 pound or 170 to 200 pound rider, roughly in that weight range. Now I weigh 195, give or take, with my gear on, maybe a little bit more, and my bike is basically fully modded and pretty dang heavy. So this bike weighs about 180 pounds with all my mods. Whoa, I'm getting a little crazy here. With all my mods and upgrades on it. And so that is where I think this fork shines, is on a bike that is very heavily modified, very fast, and is heavier than stock. Now, I don't think you should just slap this fork on like your Talaria XXX or a stock Surron or something like that that's just not necessarily big enough to need the strength and support and size that this fork is. So let's continue on with the specs. We've got 230 millimeters of fork travel instead of 200 millimeters like most forks have. Now there's one other fork on the market that has over 200, and that is the Arfloxa 228 mil travel fork. We've reviewed that on the channel. We like it in a lot of aspects and we don't like it in other aspects. But I think that Formula did a better job on this fork in making it longer travel, but not necessarily making the overall length of the fork significantly longer than a 200 mil travel fork. Now obviously it is longer and taller because it has more travel, so it kind of needs to be. But that being said, the Arfloxa fork is longer because of the travel, and then they just made the legs even longer than that for no good reason. Whoa, oh, I saved that one. Whew, lost it. This trail is hard, you guys. I hope you realize how hard some of these trails are that we ride. It just doesn't look like it on camera, but I ride these all the time and I've just gotten used to how hard they are, but they are hard. Okay, so Arfloxa made the legs longer than they needed to, and Formula on the fork I'm riding right now, they didn't do that. And so while this fork is longer and taller than a 200 mil travel fork, it's not much longer. And so in my opinion, that feels really nice. It raises the front end of the bike, makes it feel better, especially where my Surron here has an extended swing arm and a rear riser linkage. And so now I think my bike actually feels better geometry wise now that my fork is tall enough. My previous fork on this bike was the EXT Ferro, which is the more expensive, basically the most expensive fork on the market. And I ran that for the last 18 months and I absolutely loved it and I really didn't have any complaints with it. However, when I switched to this fork, like I said, I really liked the extra height that this fork added, which is give or take about an inch. So it raised the front end of my bike about an inch, and in my opinion, fixed the geometry. Okay, the other thing I like is the stiffness and rigidity and lack of flex that this fork has compared to the Faro. Now, I am not knocking the Faro, I'm not complaining about it, because that fork is incredibly stiff and supportive for how light it is. That fork is 6 pounds lighter than this one. 6 pounds. 6 pounds. This fork weighs 16.5 pounds, and we weighed it personally. We also weighed the EXT Faro right next to it, and it was 10.5 pounds. Oh, that was a big little hit there. So 6.5 pounds, over 50% more weight than a Faro. And so immediately I noticed that when I put it on this bike. I noticed the extra height, which I liked. I noticed the extra weight, which I didn't like. Makes the steering stiffer. It makes lifting the wheel up to go over bumps and like to lift it up over whoops and stuff a lot heavier. But now that I have several hundred miles on this fork, I have figured out just, you know, different ways to handle it. I just learned to ride differently to get used to it. And so now I like the way it feels. Now I still think I would like it lighter, you know, maybe somewhere in the middle. Obviously 10 pounds would be really hard to achieve with a fork like this that has dual springs, dual dampers, and is obviously longer travel and stiffer and more rigid, everything. It'd be pretty much impossible to make it as light as the Faro is. But in my opinion, I think it would be sweet if they made it like 13 or 14 pounds, if that was possible. I don't know if it's possible. I'm just saying I think that would be better if it could be a little lighter still, because these bikes are just getting heavier and heavier the more mods you put on them, and you start to lose a little bit of that lightweight e-moto feeling, you know what I mean? Okay, so with that, we've talked about the longer travel, talked about the longer legs and the taller stance it makes your bike. We talked about the price. Let's talk about how it actually feels. I mentioned the whole fork feels stiffer and more rigid, which I like. That guy was flying. Watch out for this dust. Okay, so it feels stiffer and more rigid. It feels really nice over whoops and jumps and drops. Really nice. I just love the way that it just activates the travel. You can feel the longer length. And now my Surron feels extremely well balanced. Because I have an extended swing arm, it makes my rear suspension travel also longer. So now I have between 220 and 230 mils of travel front and back, which is pretty cool. And it definitely makes a difference. Man, they've done some work to this road. This thing is nice. That was over 50 miles an hour right there. All right, we're making good headway. We've done 6 miles and we've climbed 3,000 something vertical feet. So we're flying. We're gonna go right past this guy. Yeah. Okay, we're going over there to the top of the mountain, and then I think we're gonna go to the back side of the mountain and try a single track that I've only been on one time, and I've never ridden it the direction that I'm gonna ride it today. All right, we're going all the way out this road, and we're gonna keep going around the mountain here to the top. All right, guys, here we are at the top. Well, almost to the top. We got to go up right behind us. There's some gas bikes. Should we go up there? That's the very top. This part is rocky. Come on, tire claw. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Whew. That is the top of Bountiful Peak. Salt Lake City that way, Bountiful, Centerville, Farmington, Kaysville, Ogden's way out there, Hill Air Force Base. Here's the radar towers above Farmington. And then the trail we're gonna go on is down here. So we're gonna take the dirt road around here, down by those cabins, all the way to the backside over here. And then I think our trail goes, there's still snow. Can you guys believe that? It is July, I wanna say like the 15th, maybe the 12th, I don't know. I can't remember, but there's snow right there. That's crazy. We're gonna go all the way down here to this valley, those trails over there, and go all the way around to kind of where I started, and then we're gonna go back down. We hauled up here. Let's see how long it took us. We have our GPS here. Let's see. 11 miles, 4,772 vertical feet, 26 minutes and 36 seconds. You guys can see that. So that's pretty dang good, I think. We were going fast, but it is just awesome up here. I mean, look at the view. So I've been really impressed with this tech fork. I didn't think that I was gonna like it. I'll just be honest there, I didn't think so. Dual springs and spring forks in general, I don't usually like as much as air forks. And then this fork being so heavy, I didn't think I would like it because I like my front end especially to feel light and nimble and maneuverable. And this fork just doesn't quite feel like that until you get used to it, and then you just get stronger, you just ride harder, and you do get used to it. So I'm gonna eat my words there, and I think that they sprung it perfectly for my weight and type of bike. I think that this fork will be fairly stiff if people are putting it on a stock e-moto that's not heavily modified or one that's not ridden hard through jumps and whoops and rocky terrain and stuff. Now, the one thing that I think this fork is not quite as good at as the Faro is the small bump, small rock hits. That's where the Faro is just a little bit more plush, and because it's an air fork and it has the dual air chambers, it kind of allows you to have the beginning of the travel be extremely soft and plush, but still ramp up well, where I think they did a fantastic job on this fork. It is way better than I was expecting, but I think the small bump isn't quite as good as the Faro. But in my opinion, I think I'm willing to sacrifice that for how good the rest of the fork feels on my heavy modified bike. I think the stiffness is awesome. The structural rigidity and support feels great. I have the rebound set all the way fast. So it's got these rebound adjusters right here on each leg. You're supposed to kind of set them the same so that you have, I mean, there's a damper in each leg, so you got rebound for both. And I have it all the way fast, and I think I would probably prefer it just a hair faster, but I'm really happy nonetheless of where it's at. You also down here at the bottom have your compression on both legs, so you can slightly stiffen it or slightly soften the spring. I haven't even messed with that yet. I probably should, but I really have just been happy with the fork so far. All right, let's talk about what bikes are compatible with this fork. At the moment, most bikes are compatible, but there's a few that aren't. The Eride 3.0 and SR will be compatible soon, but they are not right now. The Talaria Sting MX5 is also not compatible, but should hopefully in the future. So right now you can put it on a Surron Light Bee, a Talaria MX3, Talaria MX4, a Eride Pro SS 1.0 and 2.0, an Eride Pro S, a Talaria XXX. I think there's a few other models like the Rerode, the 79 bike. If you guys are interested in the actual technical fitment, go check it out. Link in the video description to our website, tbelectricmoto.com. You can see the bike fitment and all the specs on paper, price and everything. Try out that discount code if you guys are interested in one. That being said, man, I really don't have much negative to say about it besides the weight. It is heavy, but I mean, that's just what happens when you get a stiffer, more supportive fork. Let's keep riding. So as I'm bombing down this dirt road, it's got a lot of little sharp rocks and stuff. And I think that's where this fork just isn't quite as good as the Faro was. The Faro just eats up all the little tiny bumps so well. Like so much better than any other fork I've tried. But then you hit a big hit and then this fork does better. It just comes to life. All right guys, Lance from the future here. We're back at home. I have now adjusted the spring tension on both of these legs. So if you take a flathead screwdriver, here at the bottom there's a little rubber cap that you can pop off. On each side it's the same. There's a little arrow direction here for soft and hard. Now, what I found is that both of my legs were adjusted probably 3/4 of the way towards hard. And so I think that kind of accounts for a lot of that small bump, chattery stuff that I was noticing on the ride. And so now I adjusted them all the way soft just to see how it felt, and it's actually a pretty noticeable difference. I haven't taken it on a real ride yet, but I cruised it around, I hit some curbs, I hit some rocks here, and it feels excellent. It actually gets quite soft. I then put it all the way hard again because I wanted to really feel the difference immediately, and there is definitely a difference. So with that, with them being all the way soft, I think I would like more or faster rebound, which I can't get. It's already all the way fast. But I'm really excited to experience that on the trail because I love that it could go a bit softer. I think that's going to solve really my one main concern of it being a little bit harsh on some of the small rocks and bumps and stuff, and the weight. And we're going to keep riding. Let's go. We have found a puddle. We're going through it. Oh, it's deep. Oh, I did not want to tip over in that. Do any of you guys remember our video where we raced to the top of the mountain to rescue Mark in the Can-Am? If you guys remember that video, comment down below because that's where I'm going. I'm going to where we had to rescue Mark, and I'm gonna go backwards on the trail that we ended up finishing on, which was really difficult and technical. We hadn't ever done it before. Comment if you watched that video, and if you haven't, maybe you should go watch it. It is a fun one. Look at this muddy mess. I'm gonna try to get the bike on the right side here. Oh, this is bad. Oh, we're sliding in. Dang, this is steep. Come on, yeah, yeah. Whew. Only the Surron with the extended swing arm can make it up this. Riding, just clawing. She's clawing. Yeah. Come on, come on, come on. Holy cow, this thing just chews. And my back tire's even like wearing out quite a bit. I've been putting so many miles on. The knobs are getting small. Come on, come on, come on, come on, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, yeah, baby. I don't want to walk. Come on. Oh, yeah. Okay. I remember in here it gets really hard and steep. I think there's some like log drops that I came down when I came the other direction. I've never tried to go up them. I think We'll see how good my memory is, how hard they actually are. Come on, Surron. I don't know which way is the easiest. We're gonna try this way. Come on. Come on. Come on. Whoa. Oh, that's so close. I was afraid my wheel was just gonna slide all the way down that log. So I jumped off. Stopped right at the wrong spot. Okay. I think we made it over the steep hill section. Now I think we just work our way through these trees. I think there's a lot of log hops on here too. 1, 2, let's count them. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. Oh, there's my skid plate. Come on. 15, 16. I feel like I miscounted there, but we're going with 16. 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 for my front tire. I know some of these are small, but I'm counting them anyway. 23, a very crooked 24 that is totally rideable but risky for your back tire. 25, 26. Now that's a trench. We're going right here. $27. Whoa, that was deeper than I thought. That nearly swallowed me. 28. 29. Bunch of small ones here. 30. 31, 32, 33. 34, little one, 35, 36, 37, 38, oh, 39, and 40. Another one, 42. This trail is fun going up, way more fun than going the other direction. 43, 44. This is a full-on tree. 45. Oh boy, that's a big one. That's cool though. If I had more speed, I could do it. We'll go up this one. 46. 47, 48, 49. Little ones. 50. Well, guys, for those of you that have terrain like this in your backyard, or if you live in a state where you can drive a little ways and get some awesome mountain terrain, you got to get out and do it. Go do some solo rides. Test your bike. Get used to it, get comfortable on it, and then trust it. Take tools with you if you need. I don't always recommend that everybody does solo rides, and have backup plans and be careful and make sure you're able to hike out and you have enough water and stuff. But I love doing crazy solo adventures, and so let me know if you guys would like to see something like that where it's just kind of uncut, riding fast. Sometimes I'm talking, sometimes I'm not. Oh, we're going down that right there. It is getting so much hotter the further down I go. It was so nice being at the top of the mountain with all the cool air. Not cool, but it was, you know, 80 degrees instead of 100 and something. Oh, this is steep and loose. Woo. All right, guys, we started just over here. I'll see you guys back in the garage. All right, guys, we made it back from our fast-paced ride. That is kind of a look at the rides that I like to do by myself. That's essentially what they're all like. We did 27 and a bit miles, 6,000 vertical feet of climbing, and we ended with only 20% battery state of charge, which is kind of crazy because this battery is 72 volt, 63 amp hour. It's basically the largest capacity battery that you can put in a Surron, and I drained it in an hour and 20 minutes, which is kind of crazy to think about. Even the biggest battery just can drain really fast if you're riding hard and you're climbing steep hills and riding a lot of mountainous terrain. So with that, guys, I think our review of the Formula Tech Fork just passed with flying colors. Basically, at the beginning of this video and when I put this fork on a week ago, I said, like, if I don't like this fork in 200 miles, if I don't think it's worth it, I'm gonna put my Faro back on. Because if I don't like something, I'm taking it off my bike. But with that, this fork has blown me away and it is gonna stay on here. I'm really excited to keep testing it and adjusting it to what I think is gonna be perfect for me in different riding scenarios by adjusting the preload and the rebound. That being said, I'm super stoked on it. If you guys are interested in purchasing one, check the link down in the video description, head on over to tbelectricmoto.com and use our discount code TalariaBoys. We'll put it up on screen. That's gonna save you guys some money. Now, like we talked about before, I don't think this fork is for everybody and for everybody's type of riding or everybody's bike model. I obviously have a fully modified bike with big wheels and tires, and it's heavy, and I think that's what suits this fork perfectly. So if you guys have any questions, shoot us an email to support@tbelectricmoto.com. We'll be happy to answer any questions to make sure that you're getting the best type of suspension for your bike model and for the type of riding that you do. We have a lot of other offerings at our store, and we're happy to help you guys out. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate your support. Hit that subscribe button if you found this video fun or helpful or whatever. Hit that like button if you enjoyed it, and we're gonna be doing another e-moto giveaway very, very soon, so that's another great reason to subscribe. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time. See ya.